Hello, this is the Porgcorner with your hosts Mark and Steven. We talk comics, film, books, television, science, and gaming. We come from different nerddoms. Steven lives and breathes Star Wars, and I am a Superman and DC fanatic. We also touch on the Marvel Universe and other sci-fi and fantasy franchises. Now, let's get to episode 11, the first part of a series we're calling the Porgcorner Interviews. We are extremely excited to interview Jeremy Levy, who voices Bumblebee in the new animated series, Transformers Cyberverse. Jeremy is a writer and producer, as well as an actor and voice actor. As a writer, his plays include An Outstanding Vintage, 21 Days, and Showmance. His screenplays include Pass and Go and Smoked. He has also appeared on stage in An Outstanding Vintage, Infancy, and Showmance, and in films like Missed Connection and Blackout. His voice can be heard in video games, cartoons, and on national commercials for major brands including Snickers, Reebok, Amtrak, Xfinity, Kraft, Bose, General Mills, and Hasbro. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hey, what's up?
You want me to say something? Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
You guys.
I didn't know you were going to go with that.
This is hands down the best interview I've ever done.
This will be your best interview ever.
I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
It's so
I feel it in my heart and my bones.
It's going to be a 3-hour episode.
This is going to be a good episode.
You shouldn't edit any of this. You should keep all of this.
All right, let's start with, before we get into the voice acting aspect of things, let's start with what's been the talk of the town for the past 3 weeks, which is Avengers Endgame. Jeremy, have you had a chance to see it? What'd you think?
I have seen it twice, which means that I have cried exactly 37 times.
That's right. If you didn't cry, you didn't see the movie.
It was, so the weird thing is, so the first time I cried a lot, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was crying. I learned that if you breathe out of your mouth, you can cry in a way that is sort of less obvious. And then I looked at the guy who I went to go see it with, and he was just sobbing the entire time, just completely openly. So I was like, oh, I guess we can do this. And then when I saw it the second time, I was like, all right, I'm not going to cry because I know what's coming. And I'm ready for this. And oh no, it was just more crying.
Did anybody in this room, did anybody think that they were going to cry at an Avengers movie?
I had a feeling.
I guess I wasn't expecting it. I guess it caught me off guard.
I should have brought a box of tissues.
You really should have, because I was a mess.
It was, it was great. I thought it was a very fitting tribute. I think, above all, the way it paid homage to the last 11 years and doing something that no one else has ever done. I thought it was a very fitting send-off. I do think that it and Infinity War are one big movie.
Oh, for sure. Right. Yeah.
I feel like they are one long movie.
Yeah.
So
and this, now that they're both out, once you own them both, you watch them both. You don't just watch one.
Prior to seeing Endgame, did you sign up for those 22 film marathons in the theaters?
I thought about it.
We did too.
I really thought about it. Okay, I didn't think about it that hard.
No,
but
we did. We thought about it real hard.
Wow, that's commitment. That's more commitment than anyone who's actually in or has made any of these movies.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
That would be the smelliest theater on earth.
That would be bad.
When you were growing up, because we're talking about the Avengers, were you primarily like a Marvel kid, a DC kid, a Star Wars kid, or was there something else? Transformers, maybe?
So my two favorite characters growing up were Batman and Spider-Man. Oh, so I think I split the difference pretty good of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, I loved that comic book lore, and especially in the animated sense, which sort of helped inform where I am today. But Batman the animated series, X-Men, Spider-Man, all of those sort of early 90s animated what have yous, to me, those are the things that actually brought me into the fold, more so than the comic books themselves. That's when I really started to get hooked on these things.
That I would agree. That's where I came in. My brother, he read a lot of the comic books, but for me it was the Saturday morning cartoons and the after school specials and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Your brother actually gave me comic books for graduation.
Oh, did
so
he?
for those of you who don't know, I went to college with Steven's brother, Patrick, whom I like to call Tex, but who hates that I call him Tex.
That is a fact.
But I'm still doing. That was how we met. We were all like in a meet and greet in the first week of college, and he was like, "Hey, my name's Patrick. I'm from Texas," and I was like, "Can we call you Tex?" And he looked me dead in the eye, and he said, "No."
That's exactly how he would respond. Yeah.
And I said, "Awesome, Tex," and he's been Tex ever since.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, he got me comic books for college graduation. He got me a Teen Titans issue.
Awesome.
you mentioned Batman the Animated Series. Like, famously, the best Batman on Earth is Kevin Conroy.
Absolutely.
Who voices Batman in that series. Was that kind of maybe an inspiration?
Yes. I mean, Kevin Conroy is hands down one of my heroes. And I'm trying to phrase this in a way that I've also learned that anything that I say will be pounced on, so people are like looking for spoilers. But I do play several characters on the show that you haven't seen yet. But one of them I did sort of use Kevin Conroy as something of an inspiration.
You heard it here first. Batman's in Transformers.
That's it. You heard it here first. Batman is in Transformers. We did it. We made it happen.
Oh, great.
If we get you in trouble, Jeremy, I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's all right. I think it's okay.
Related to Transformers, did you have a favorite one growing up? And the answer can't be Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Well, clearly everyone's favorite is Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So here's the thing. I am almost embarrassed to admit this, but I didn't really watch Transformers growing up.
Oh, okay.
So I knew most of what everyone knows about Transformers, and, I knew the big stuff, clearly. I knew Bumblebee, I knew Optimus, but when, this opportunity came to me, in the audition process, I immediately started doing a lot of research. But once I got the part, I thought I owed it to the fans, and the Transformers fandom is very dedicated, to put it mildly. Mm-hmm. This franchise, this mythology, this character means so much to so many people that I was like, well, I owe it to them to learn as much about this as I possibly can. So I took myself to Transformers University, and every day I would sit down on the couch with a pencil and paper, and I would watch episodes from every single season over the course of 30 years. I would watch YouTube explainer videos. I was really trying to cram as much as I could about this world. So to answer your question, I didn't have a favorite one growing up, but now it's Starscream.
Oh,
That
nice.
answer your question?
That's a good. Yeah, I'll take that as a good answer.
That's a great answer. I just
Yeah,
want him to
Starscream's the
win.
best. He's such a meanie.
But you want him to win, sometimes.
He's the meanie you love to hate and hate to love.
Yeah.
One day he'll lead the Decepticons.
One day.
Only.
Maybe. Possibly.
Well, you mentioned like prepping for your audition for the role of Bumblebee for the show. What was that process like? The actual audition process for you?
It was very interesting because I didn't have a lot of information on the project. I knew it was a Transformers project, but I didn't know if it was going to be a series, a web series, a video game. I had absolutely no idea. They wouldn't give me a script from the actual show. So we were actually doing scripts from old shows.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't really want to release it yet. And the thing was, they knew that they wanted... So I'm also on Rescue Bots Academy, which is like sort of the Transformers show that's aimed towards younger kids.
Okay.
And they knew that whoever they cast as Bumblebee, they wanted him to be on both shows. So I initially got brought in for Rescue Bots.
Oh, interesting.
And so I was reading the old Rescue Bots scripts. as my audition. And then as time went on, as like different writers from each of the projects would sort of get involved, they would bring me back. They probably brought me back 4 times, I want to say. And they would have more things for me to read every time. So it was a process that was shrouded in secrecy. But the more information I got, the more it sort of colored my take on the character, because I had sort of preconceived notions from other Bumblebees. But once I actually got to see some of the Cyberverse scripts, I realized he's not exactly how I was doing him. So I was actually trying new stuff all the time in the auditions until we found something that clicked for everybody.
That's awesome. So when you went in for the interview or for the auditions, did you know it was Bumblebee that you were auditioning for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I always knew it was Bumblebee.
Okay. And then my next question, in the show, Bumblebee is talking through the radio, and he has several different voices, but those are all you. So during your audition, did you have to do that? Did they ask you to kind of do the radio transition between different voices?
Yeah, so this is part of what I was talking about, where every time I went back in, I would get a little more information. So after I'd finally gotten one of the scripts from Cyberverse, and I'd auditioned for that Bumblebee, like Bumblebee specifically for Cyberverse, then they were like, oh yeah, and one more thing. He also, there are weird things with timelines, and in the present day, he doesn't have a voice and he speaks through the radio, so you also have to do all of these impressions. I was like, oh, that's okay. That is unexpected. Yeah, so I was in the booth, and they basically just handed me this list of all of these lines out of context with sort of a parenthetical descriptor next to them about the kind of thing that they were looking for. So sometimes it would be like, 80s action hero. It would be grizzled detective. It would be little kid. It would be like PBS documentarian. So I had something to shoot for most of the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I was in that booth and they handed me this piece of paper with all of these lines and all of these characters, and I just sort of rattled them off all the way down the list. And there was sort of this silence on the other end of the microphone, and I just hear, okay.
So this is like, you don't really get feedback immediately from them, whether that's a good audition or not so great, or it's just
I mean,
thanks for coming
they're, they're going to be supportive, I think. They're not going to tell you suck. like if you're not good, they're not going to be like, yeah, wow, that was not good.
I mean,
but, they're professional and they're supportive, and
I could imagine if somebody was really bad, that I'm sure somebody would be pretty honest at some point.
Well, you are critical in a constructive way.
We would hope.
You would hope. You would think. We're actors. We have very fragile egos.
Yeah, we don't want to hurt anybody. That's true.
No.
Are there any other characters within the show that you play other than Bumblebee?
So, yes. But the only ones that have thus far been unveiled have been Bumblebee and Rack and Ruin. So Rack and Ruin is a 2-headed Autobot with a really cool backstory. He's kind of a deep cut Transformer, which is like one of the cool things about the show, and something the writers love, because the writers are all Transformers nerds.
Awesome.
And one of the things that Hasbro told them when they started developing the show was, hey, we have a lot of Transformers. Have at. Use them. Use whichever ones you want. I mean, they're all open to you. So they wanted to use some that had not gotten a ton of attention, and Rack and Ruin was one of them. He's sort of a deep cut. He was one of the wreckers, I believe. I misspoke. I was at WonderCon, and I misspoke, and I called him a Constructicon.
Oh no!
And then the next day, all of the message boards were blowing up because they thought season 2 was going to be about the Constructicons.
Oh no!
So I guess I will use this opportunity now to clear up the record. That was my bad. That's why I have to be very careful about what I say.
Yeah,
Right.
I could imagine.
Because you set off quite the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, no Constructicons, but at least we have Batman coming up, so...
We got
Yeah, no,
Batman.
Batman is 100% in Transformers. 100%.
Oh my gosh.
One
Let's
thing
break.
I
Let's
wanted to
break the internet.
Yeah, let's break the internet.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was actually, you've done other voice work. One of those was as a character in Killzone 3, which was a video game, came out a few years ago. Is there like a different approach to the auditioning process and just B, your approach to doing voice acting between the two mediums?
So if Transformers was secretive, then Killzone 3 was like was a conspiracy theory. I mean, I got no information on that. So for that, like, I had read for it in the morning. I found out that I booked it in the afternoon and that I had to go in first thing the next morning to record it. And no one would tell me what the game was. Like, I had zero idea. I did not know. So that was also interesting because you can't prepare in any way. You're just showing up to a recording. You have no idea who you're playing, what the game is. Like, you have no idea. So you have to come up with a lot of stuff on the fly, which is something I'm learning more and more, is sort of expected of especially voice actors, is to, like, you gotta, things happen fast and you have to make a decision and just do something.
Yeah.
So that's what we had to do for Killzone. I was another character, a much bigger character in Killzone, and I was excited about it. I forget his name now. But I had, like, a cool death cutscene, and, like, it was awesome. I was really excited.
Yeah.
And then the game came out, and I ran and I bought it, and I started playing it, and I found out that my character was now a woman, and I was no longer.
Oh no.
Which is, like, was girl power and all, but
Right,
I was like, that's not me.
They just cut you, but they don't tell you they cut you.
No, I had no idea.
Ugh.
Also, my friends hated when that game came out because I would, like, put it on in my living room to show everybody, and I would turn the music and the sound effects way down and the dialogue way up. And every time my character said anything, I would just be like, "That was me. I did that. That was me." And they didn't care. They just wanted to play the game. They were really annoyed.
Like, you're actually making this worse. You should
Yes,
sit
yeah.
down, let us complete the game.
Cool.
Cool.
Those are the best type of friends.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree.
You mentioned earlier that growing up you were a big fan of Spider-Man, Batman. Are there any characters out there, whether comics, video games, anything, that you would want a shot at playing, voiceover-wise? Like a dream role?
Spider-Man and Batman.
Yeah, I was about to say that would definitely narrow that down. Can you give us?
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man has always been a dream of mine to play. And there are some episodes of Cyberverse that I think I'm channeling Spider-Man. There are some episodes where Bumblebee is extraordinarily quippy. The Shadow Striker episode, it's just like quip after quip after quip, and that was my sort of, like, personal Spider-Man moment.
Awesome. Can you give us your best Christian Bale I'm Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, hang on. Let me see if I do this. Where are the drugs? Swear to me.
NC.
That was it.
NC.
I just
wonderful.
shredded
Thank
my
you.
vocal cords.
Yeah.
That was good.
There's nothing left. There's nothing left.
So Spider-Man, did you see SpiderVerse, the movie that came out like a couple months ago?
I did see that.
Oh, that's such a good
it was fantastic.
Yeah, that was such a good Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, I mean, that opportunity to have a multiverse of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing about that movie is, like, it shouldn't have worked. Like, I don't know how that movie got pitched. I don't know, like, who greenlit it. I don't know, like it should not, by all accounts, have worked. It's so out there, and it's such a like radical take. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it still hits all of the beats of the classic origin story. But it doesn't feel like an origin story.
Well, that's kind of one of my things about it, is it's so unique because it kind of just, if you were a comic book reader, this would be decades into somebody's story, you know? Like, you just be like, oh, okay, now there's a multiverse. And instead of, like, the origin starting right at the beginning of a multiverse.
Right.
Yeah, it is a lot to throw at the viewer.
Yeah. I think as long as you went into it knowing who Peter Parker was, honestly, and then Mary Jane, I think if you knew those two names, you could make it through the movie.
Yeah.
And not knowing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It introduced Miles Morales.
Yep.
What did you think of his character? He was introduced like 10 years ago or something. I mean, he's a new Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's well, I mean, he's great. He's a great character regardless, but he's great for the obvious reason is, it's because of his ability to include, the fact that he was like the first biracial Spider-Man is important, we need more biracial and we need more sort of different ethnicities in our superheroes because that is, I think the good thing that comic books and comic book lore have always done really well is sort of reflect society at the time in a super weird way. And we are a very multicultural populace now. And I feel like our superheroes should follow suit.
In that vein, so one event that keeps growing, it seems, every year is San Diego Comic-Con. Every year, there are more people that attend. It's a diverse mix of people. If you got a chance to attend as a fan, what would you cosplay as?
That is really. So I was just at WonderCon, and some of the costumes were just incredible, like super incredible.
Yeah, people will go all out.
Yeah, I think just to troll everybody, I would go as Robin from Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin.
That would be so awesome.
That's what I think. I think that's what I would do. Oh I would even cut my hair super short. That's how dedicated I would be to this.
That would be awesome.
Nipples and all.
Best Batman movie.
Best Batman. Oh my God.
Best Batman.
But that's a good segue to. I mean, you're going to Comic-Con.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't really know. I don't think I'm like speaking on any panel. Like WonderCon, I spoke on the Cyberverse panel. Mm-hmm. I think I'm just sort of going as just to be there, I guess, as an emissary.
Are you gonna have a booth? Idea. Are we gonna get signatures? Are you gonna sign things, or are you just going?
I mean, I'm not gonna have a table where I sign things, but if someone happens to catch me there. Like, honestly, if someone recognizes me at San Diego Comic-Con and wants me to sign something, I will give them a signature and like $20.
You heard it here, guys.
That is how sure I am that I'm not going to be recognized at San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, now he's just like,
and ask for an autograph. But if it does, I will make it rain.
He's going to have a light out the door now.
Yeah, I know.
Bring a lot of cash with you, Jeremy.
Yeah, we're going to post your picture everywhere. They're going to be like, I know who he is now.
It's okay. It's fine. It's a tax deduction. It's fine.
There you go.
Oh, that actually reminds me as well, in terms of, like, you mentioned going to WonderCon. So when you're doing your recording for Bumblebee for the show, you're not in the room with any other actors, or you're not kind of gauging your performance off of them. So it's just you.
No. Yes, we record by ourselves in the booth. Yeah.
Have you met the other actors?
Yes.
Good.
No, I mean I have. We actually had a cast party a couple months ago, I think, to celebrate the end of we did Rescue Bots and Cyberverse. We did a joint cast party. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we hang out. Some of us have become friends. Ryan Andes, he plays Grimlock and Shockwave. We are best buds. And the best part about that is our heights in real life reflect our characters' heights. because Ryan Andes is like the tallest man on the planet, and I am of average height, let's say. So yeah, when we walk around, we look like Bumblebee and Grimm.
That's awesome. You guys should you should wear like a colored shirt that,
We should.
yellow Bumblebee shirt.
Yeah.
we should do that.
All right. I think we're moving on to the lightning round.
Are we ready? Oh my gosh. Are you two ready for the
Oh, man.
Emperor Palpatine's lightning round?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Mark always gives me such a hard
I've
time.
never been so ready in my entire
Oh my
life.
gosh. Okay. This week's topic is Transformers.
Shocking.
Shocking.
I did not see that coming.
I usually just ask Mark because he's the only one here. But obviously this time the both of you will have an opportunity to answer, and then I'll present you with the.
Do we get buzzers? Do we have to buzz in?
Oh man, I should have got buzzers.
Buzz in with your voice, Jeremy.
Okay, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Ready.
All right.
I'm the readiest.
All right. Question 1. When did Transformers first air on TV?
I believe it's 1984.
Mark?
I'm going to say 82.
Ooh, Jeremy's right. 1984.
Oh,
September 17th, 1984.
chalk one up for the beat.
Oh, I forgot to mention, $20 is on the line, so.
Good. I'm gonna need that for the one person who recognizes me at Comic-Con.
That's right. I knew that was coming. Question 2. Who is the voice actor of Optimus Prime?
Are you going? Am I going?
Oh, go
I
ahead.
know this.
Yeah, Jeremy.
It's Peter Cullen,
Yes. Oh, sorry.
the
Mark, what's your-
legendary, the man,
Peter,
the myth,
Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen.
P-Cull, as I like to call him.
I'm sure.
I've never called him P-Cull, and I will never do it again.
I wouldn't. But that is correct. And Jake Tillman does the Optimus Prime for your
Yes,
show.
correct.
Mhm.
That is our Optimus Prime.
Yes. Question 3. Who was Optimus Prime's voice inspired by, according to Peter Cullen?
Darth Vader.
That's wrong. Jeremy, do you have the correct answer?
I think, if memory serves from my hours of Transformers research, he said that Optimus Prime was inspired by his brother.
Oh, no. I have written down John Wayne.
Well, you're wrong.
I mean, I'll have to fact check that, but
It could be. I mean, it does sound very John Wayne. Listen, Peter Cullen has given hundreds to thousands of interviews.
Yeah.
I'm sure he said both.
I'm sure. I'm sure. That's why I don't know how to.
Or maybe his brother is John Wayne. You don't know.
Is his brother John Wayne?
Maybe it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, he talked about like how his brother was just sort of very matter of fact and to the point and very so he patterned it after his brother. But Google it.
You know what? I'm just gonna give him an extra bonus point because his answer sounds better than mine.
Also, I buy John Wayne. It sounds like John Wayne. I
It
get
does
it.
sound like John Wayne, but I don't know. I'll fact check it later.
I'm partial
All right.
to Darth Vader.
Mark's sticking to Darth Vader. All right, question 4. In the 3rd season of the original 80s TV show, Bumblebee was destroyed and rebuilt, and what was his name?
Bumblebee became Goldbug.
Mark?
Bug Gold.
Yeah, Jeremy, you're right.
Yeah.
His name became Goldbug because it was a gold Volkswagen Bug.
Clever
Makes
name.
sense.
All right, question 5. This is a little bit of a difficult question. I went deep into this one to find this question for you guys. Question 5. There are countless Transformer characters. How did they decide which characters would appear in the original 80s TV show?
I am going to make an educated guess. I think they had a huge wall where they placed pictures of all of the Transformers, and they threw darts.
I'm going to say that they all took the toys, and they had wrestling matches with the toys, and whoever won got on the show.
I like both
bet-
these answers better than the real answer. How they decided which characters would be in the original 80s TV show. Hasbro picked the toy company manufacturer called Takara, who had the mold rights for certain characters, were the ones that were chosen to be on TV. And they did not choose any character that was produced by Bandai.
Oh. I see.
Yeah,
I see that.
That's a fun. I went real deep to pull that one out for you guys.
You did. You did do that. And then meanwhile, I believe the original Power Rangers toys were made by Bandai, but now they're being made by Hasbro.
You're right, Hasbro. Yep.
So it looks like they, they got him. They finally got him.
Season 2 of Transformers Cyberverse featuring the Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Featuring Batman and the Power Rangers.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All on Season 2 of Transformers Cyberverse. And the Constructicons.
And then, oh no.
We're going to break the internet. We're just going to break it.
We're going to get
break
so
the
much
internet.
trouble. Gosh. All right, final question. Question number 6. Who else do you know that has voiced Bumblebee?
Ooh. So, my predecessor, Will Friedle, played Bumblebee before I did. And I was actually a huge Will Friedle fan growing up.
So you know where he did. What other
He played Batman in Batman Beyond.
Yes.
I never missed an episode.
Yep.
Wow.
He also played Lion-O in the Thundercats reboot.
Oh.
Thundercats, of course, one of my favorite properties of all time. I also believe he wrote the first couple episodes.
Of
Thundercats?
Yes.
That's
of
awesome.
the reboot.
Of the reboot, right.
So that's what I'm going with.
That's
I'm
awesome.
going with Willie Free. I call him Willie Free.
Like Pete Cole?
Yes. I don't call him Willie Free, and I never will again.
Close friends of yours?
Yeah.
I have one more other actor who played the voice of Bumblebee, and it's Johnny Young Bosch. He was the original Black Ranger from the Power Rangers.
That is awesome.
He did the voice for the video game War for Cybertron.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so,
That's great.
Yeah, you
That's
got
a
a really
fun-
cool
that's
little
a fun
circle
fact
you're
to
a
it.
part of now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Terry McGinnis. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I hope they bring that show back. Batman Beyond.
Yeah. They're not.
Damn it.
But
Thanks for dashing dreams, dude.
yeah, anytime. That's what I'm here for.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jeremy.
No, thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah, thanks for
It's
thanks for
awesome.
being on the show with us.
Oh yeah, and that was Emperor Palpatine's lightning round.
It doesn't have to
Sure
have
was.
it in.
I just love saying the name. It just
I do too.
rolls off the tongue.
It rolls so well. You gave me a hard time for that name for a while.
I did, and I'm still going to.
He shoots
I
lightning from his
endorse it.
fingers. He's Emperor Palpatine's lightning round.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Jeremy, thanks again for joining us today.
My pleasure, guys. And you can follow me at Mr. Jeremy Levy on Twitter. Also Instagram, but mostly Twitter.
You can follow me and Steven at the Porgcorner on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social medias, and find us on all podcast platforms at the Porgcorner. We'll see you next episode. Bye, guys.